We've hit the 2-minute mark left, and the restlessness grows here in Cleveland. Halliburton around Allen, and he scoops it. Tyrese Halliburton putting the Pacers on his back.
Big-time win for the Pacers. Welcome to Playoff Central Live. Nabil Kareem alongside Dominique Wilkins and Jalen Rose. Complete post-game coverage coming up right here on NBA TV. We're going to hear from the players, the coaches, and these guys right here because when we were talking about this pregame, we said, hey, this could be a fantastic series. It was a great game one, but the Pacers down the stretch, what did they do in that fourth quarter?
Well, the Pacers ran the ball up and down the floor, and they got the Cavaliers out of position defensively. They had too many open shots. I mean, we can't even count the open shots that they had where nobody was even close. So that's where it started. And once they started making three-point shots and getting those type of possessions, it was all downhill for them. And the Cleveland Cavaliers couldn't figure it out for a long time. But when they finally did, they had suspended so much energy. Yeah. But, the Pacers, they stayed focused, kept their composure, and they was able to get the lead back.
You're exactly right, Nick. And the Cavs' posture all season has been defensively. One of the top teams along with OKC the entire year. So if you're Indiana, you're getting open shots from three. You're able to get to the paint and get layups. Halliburton did a terrific job of creating for himself and for his teammates. And then all of a sudden your role players get going. Nembhard played well. Nesmith played well. You didn't really need a big game from Pascal Siakam or Turner because they did a great job of spreading the basketball around to their role players. As you see McConnell making plays for three and also dropping it off to his teammate as well.
Another thing you saw in this game defensively from Indiana, they were really good tonight. They were really good. Guys was moving their feet. They were switching. They were really rotating and getting steals. So they played well, even though they turned the ball over, I think, 15 times, I think it was. But just think what the game would have been if they would have protected the ball a little bit.
Yeah, we were talking about that towards the end of the game. At that point, it was 15. It ended up being 17 turnovers for 22 points for Cleveland. Again, they take care of the basketball, and this thing could be a blowout.
Absolutely, and Donovan Mitchell did a terrific job of attacking the basket and looking to score. He and Ty Jerome, but it was too much of those two guys. They got to figure a way to get balance, especially if Garland isn't going to play. And I understand Donovan Mitchell is going to be aggressive and probably take 30 shots. But I don't necessarily want to see Ty Jerome coming off the bench taking a number of shots that he took unless he's hot. For me, he has to now get guys involved because that's one of the things that Garland is a 20-point scorer, but he's not a volume scorer. And I think they lost their balance and they lost their way.
Well, again, you have to get it from other guys early in the game because you can't just depend on Donovan Mitchell to make the big plays every time down. You saw Allen play well early, but kind of in the second half wasn't really heard from. So it's going to come from multiple guys. If Garland is going to continue to be out, someone else is going to have to take that responsibility and help run that offense along with Donovan Mitchell.
And Nick, you made a great point about DeAndre Hunter and what he brings to the team. And we know when he got going these last couple of games throughout the playoffs, he was averaging 20 points going into this game based on the previous two. You think they should consider starting him in the next game?
I do. And we've talked about that because what that does is give you a really, really good small forward starting for you that you have to know where he's at. You have to guard him because he can shoot it and he can put it on the floor to get to the basket. So I think it'll give them an advantage. Would you play them other guys shorter minutes, come off the bench like Strus? Of course. But you want to try to get out of the gates early now that you're down 1-0 at home. So DeAndre Hunter has been playing well, and I don't think he had enough possessions tonight in this game, so you're going to have to get him more involved.
Even let's hear from Kenny Atkinson and see what he thought from his perspective in game one.
Go. I've been talking for days about the speed that they play from when you see it in person.
Yeah, it took us a while to get you. I think we finally figured it out. But in the beginning, man, they had us kind of in the blender a little bit, and we did get adjusted to it, made some adjustments, and settled down a little bit. But and then their shot making was otherworldly, and obviously we're 9 for 38, elite shot making by them. Give them a ton of credit, I think in the first half we had them in the second percentile of shot quality. Like I don't know what it finished. Like, but we're forcing tough shots. But give them credit. It's the playoffs. Yeah, good point, Joe. Took us a while to figure out their speed.
And then with DeAndre, obviously he took that hard fall. I guess 2 questions on that. What is he okay? And then also, was there an explanation?
Doesn't look good. I don't know. I think what they're. I mean, they reviewed it, right? Yeah. I think, which is I never understood this. I think once you release the ball, like you can basically hit a guy. Like once it's released, like kind of all bets are off. Even on a floater, if you shoot a floater and they hit you, like they don't call that. So that I didn't get an explanation. I just said, well, they reviewed it, so they didn't see a foul. I mean, look, I thought we got hammered 3 times at the JA had that one where he got hammered and did. But the refereeing was fine. They outplayed us. You got to give them credit. Simple as that.
Okay. You guys didn't shoot the ball well from down the arc.
Yeah.
What did you think of the shot quality generated?
Average. I thought they did a good job. We only had 7 turnovers. They just did a good job with their physicality. Their defensive intensity was excellent. It's crazy. I kind of think it was more our offense that hurt us as well. You gave up, whatever, but sometimes your offense affects your defense. So, again, I didn't feel like we moved it, sticking. We tried to keep Ty out there to get another ball handler just to relieve the pressure. But our offense wasn't great tonight.
With Darius out, what went into the decision to put Sam in the starting lineup?
Yeah, Sam. I mean, you could argue. Yeah, I mean, Sam creates advantages off the ball, and then obviously a good defensive player. Obviously the shooting gives us another shooter, relieves a little pressure off Don.
Cash. To go back to moving the ball offensively, just what do you think about 30 shot attempts for Donovan tonight? Is that more than you want from him, or
I think he, kind of felt the moment, felt he needed with that, Darius out. But we definitely, and it, not just on him, I thought it was a general, didn't distribute the ball like we normally did, move it like we normally did. And you got to get off the ball. They packed the paint. And I there's going to be a lot of clips where it was a, one more pass or swing pass. We didn't get into any of that. But credit to them for packing the paint. We got to move it better.
Just knowing this group, obviously, the way you do, like, what's going to be important in a response in a couple of days here, and how do you think they're going to handle that? I think
we have great leadership that starts there. So we'll bounce back. Got to win 4. And like I said, they played outstanding. Guys are good spirits. We just got to check our health status. That's going to be, big. Where are we? Get our recovery. Be ready to go for game 2.
Right. In terms of defending their spacing, whether it's just keeping up with their pace, whether it's anticipation, what was missing?
Like I said, I think it's not only the pace of the speed, how fast they run, but they touch it, they move around, and Tyrese is a master of just he's like a hockey distributor. He just kind of banging it around, and that's hard. They got they're an excellent offensive team, and I think we struggled. Not only with their pace, but with their ball movement.
Okay.
You mentioned some of those adjustments, right? For you, it felt like in the third quarter, fourth quarter, that's when those momentum swings were happening. So what was kind of the message at halftime and the points of emphasis at the halftime?
Yeah, stay with it. I think, like I said, we kind of knew that they're making tough shots and we're forcing tough shots and we want our guys to stick with it. And they did. I thought they hung in there. We turned around, made a few adjustments in the third quarter that I think helped our defense. But again, I think it's crazy. I think our offense kind of let us down a little bit, and not just the missed shots. Just could have moved it a little better.
Chase,
does this hasten the urgency to get Darius back?
I mean, listen, it's when you're dealing with health and I don't know if that context helps, right? Like it is what it is. He's wasn't ready. Well, again, it's a day-to-day thing. We'll check him tomorrow. I know he's desperate to play. We desperate. We need his speed and shot making. I mean, he's an all-star. But we'll check him tomorrow, and I'll check in with him, see where he is.
It's a P top.
I mean, yeah, I don't. I'm not sure what the official kind of medical thing. I guess I should know. But I know it's a tough one, especially like I said pregame with the stopping and starting, and he's hurting, and we just gotta see if he can figure it out. If we can figure it out, just get him up going. But we don't want him out there 60%.
All right, so that's Kenny Atkinson on what needs to improve for Cleveland as they lose game 1 to the Indiana Pacers, 121-112. Obi Toppin, a big part of the bench. Indiana's productive bench, 7 points, 5 rebounds in this win. And Obi Toppin joins us now. And Obi, I'm going to let you play analyst in this game. Congratulations, by the way, on the win. But right from the get-go, you guys seem so confident. Tell me what was working from this team.
I mean, we try to go into every game confident. We know the work that we put in. We understand how we play. So we just try to go out there and have fun. And I felt like we did that today. Moved the ball a little bit, made open shots. Yes, sir.
Hey, Obi, Dominique here.
Yes, sir.
What was your mindset? Good to see you too, man. What was your mindset defensively going? We knew you guys was going to run up and down the floor and try to push the pace. But defensively, what was your guys' mindset early in the game to try to slow the Cavaliers down?
Yeah, we understand who Donovan is, who all their guards are, scoring guards. I felt like all our guys did a great job, especially Ty. Ty did an amazing job defensively, which helped us get out in transition, get open shots, get himself open shots. But we just went into this game knowing that if we get stops, we was going to do well. We understand what we do offensively, getting out on the floor. So we get stops, we'll play good basketball.
Obi, what's happening? It's Jalen. Congratulations on the win.
What's up? Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. What is it like being a Pacer with this strength in numbers approach offensively? Tyrese does a terrific job of getting off the basketball, but all of you guys do a great job of moving and cutting. What is it like to play in your offense in a game like today when everybody's feeling like they have an opportunity to be productive?
Man, it's fun. Obviously, you got some guys out there that don't pass on other teams. You don't want to play like that. When we pass the ball, everybody's in rhythm, everybody's having fun and feel involved. And I feel like we've been like that the whole season, and that's why we've been so successful. And so we're not going to slow down to stop that now. We're going to keep it going.
And, it's one of the questions I had too about your offense. You guys, you're always looking to run first. And even when teams make a run and come back and try to make it close, you guys never change your game plan offensively because your offense, really potent. And I've watched you guys all year. We've played against you guys this year quite a few times, and it was always the same. You guys never change your script.
Yeah, we definitely gonna keep what we got going. Obviously, it's working out very well. But we're one of the fastest teams in the league. If we can get down the court fast enough, get easy buckets, create disadvantages on their end, we gonna be good. And I feel like it all starts with Ty, and he does a great job controlling this train, and we just riding with him.
Obi, up front, what's the ideology behind guarding Mobley and making Allen's buckets and rebounds a lot more difficult?
Yeah. They're two great players, but we just gotta be physical with them. I feel like if we hit first, we're doing our job and we're making it hard for them. Obviously, everybody here is pros. They're gonna make unbelievable shots sometimes, but we just gotta be able to get it out of bounds and get up the court and do what we do on offense. But they're great guys, great players. But we just gotta make it tough for them to be physical.
Obi, I got one more for you, and I'll ask you about Andrew Nembhard, because it seems like anytime the moment gets bigger, he just seems to rise to the occasion. What makes him so effective on both ends of the court?
Yeah, obviously everybody knows what he does defensively. That's no surprise. But offensively, he's just not afraid of the moment. He understands what he has to do and when he has to do it. And so all those threes he was hitting, open threes, we needed those, and that's what kept us into this game. So big props to him. He helped us a lot.
Hey, this was a great way to start round two, Obi. Congratulations again on the win, 121-112. Can't wait for game two. Thank you again.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys.
Congratulations, fam.
Yeah, great win.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Pascal Siakam, 17 points in the win. We got full highlights coming up after the break on Playoff Central Live. All right, Pacers taking game one of this series. Let's hear from Rick Carlisle.
Well, we had an exceptionally good shot-making night. We're a bit fortunate. Some of those were late clock up against it. But the key word is aggression. And we got to be in attack mode to have a chance to beat this team. And so, in ththose situations, we just encourage our guys to play free and let it ride. So, and then as far as we were able to get enough stops at key times. That was really important. The rebounding is a concern, obviously, in the turnovers. So we got to do better there, and we'll look at the film.
You just mentioned some of these things, but you go down a little at the end of the third again, early in the fourth. What was key in responding to those runs from the Cavs and getting back in the lead?
Well, we talked before the series began about this building, how loud it is, how raucous the crowd is, the PA system, the whole deal. And, they threw a major haymaker at us the, second part of the third quarter. And I just thought our guys held strong. They just dug in and held strong. We lost the lead. Miles' three at the end of the third quarter was a huge play because it gave us the lead going into the fourth, which is big. And in the fourth, we did a lot of good things.
I was moving well on defense. What did you think of his work on that end of the floor tonight?
Well, he switched on to Jerome once and was able to get a stop, and he switched on to Mitchell once and was able to get a stop at key times during the heart of crunch time. And those were major plays, and those kinds of plays get our team energized.
You mentioned Mitchell, and he obviously went for 11 from three. Just kind of what you like about the way you guys contested him. I feel like you threw a lot of different looks, different guys at him.
I mean, he's going to get clean looks. I mean, he has that kind of strength and explosiveness, and we're fortunate. He missed a lot of ones that he would normally make. But we got to look at the film. I mean, he's a beast. We saw what he did to Miami, and this is a long series. So it's just one game, and we've got to look at all this, see where we need to do better, see what, we can anticipate. Certainly Garland's going to be back in this thing at some point, probably sooner than later. And we got to be ready for everything.
We obviously talk a lot about Drew and Aaron and the contributions they give for you guys tonight. They're 9 of 12 from three. Just what did you like from them on both ends? Just how big were some of the shots they give, especially Andrew having some of those that were contested step backs, having to create room for himself to make some of the shots.
It's really about the process. It's understanding that if you're in a tight situation like clock, do what you can to create an open look, and then let it ride and trust it. Aaron's shots were a little different, came off a more normal offensive flow. He hit a big one in the first half, and then he hit a couple big ones in the third quarter. They gave us some separation in the third, and then they made a mad run back at us. And so, but look, shot making is great when they go in. We got to focus on the process in a long series, and that's exactly what this is.
You guys had 6 guys in double figures, 2 more with 7. That speaks to your depth. Of Tyrese, 13 assists. What's his role in that part?
Well, I mean, these teams are great teams to watch because they're defined by their balance. And so, Cleveland's had, situations all year where they've had 6, 7 guys consistently in double figures. They needed it to have their season. We needed it to get where we got to. And so it's one of the things that I think makes this a good series to watch for basketball purists, It's 2 unselfish teams. And then look, Ty, at the end of the game, he made some huge plays. I mean, the first 3 that he hit on Allen, it's a tough shot, it's contested, but he makes it. And then, I don't remember the exact sequence, but then the step through scoop was a big play. But the bigger plays were the 2 stops that he was able to get one-on-one. And, those are enormous plays.
You end up with, they only hit 9 threes, but they had about 70-ish points in the paint. How much of that is by design, you guys trying to take away those threes?
They miss a lot of ones they'll normally make, and they heave some at the end, that are tough shots. So I don't know. We gotta look at all of it and judge it for what it is, and not just look at it numbers on a score sheet, because we happen to win the game. They're very good at what they do. They will adjust and do what they do better. We've got to do the same.
Great. This may be a dumb question, but does the mentality change at all when you do steal a game 1 on the road like that?
We've got to stay hungry. I mean, I haven't heard many people that gave us a chance in this series, so we got to use that as some level of motivation, but we know what we're capable of. Game 2 will be exceptionally hard with, them dropping game 1, this building the way it is, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to have to be ready, but our mindset has got to be, we've got to keep attacking.
Thank you, guys. It'll be
All right, that's Rick Carlisle there. Let's get to the full highlights of this game in case you missed any of it. Darius Garland did not play, big toe sprain, so he remained out. Tyrese Halliburton, Donovan Mitchell putting on a show for their teams, and it's Mitchell early on here.
Well, Mitchell really did his thing. He got going really later in the game. He didn't knock down many threes tonight, but he was able to get down here and wreak havoc on the Pacers defense. But it was guys like Siakam and Turner, those guys came out and really stretched the defense, and Halliburton was able to get to the basket and knock down shots. So they really put a lot of pressure on it defensively, where they were able to get out and run and get some easy baskets as well. So, but their bigs played a big role inside the Indiana Pacers. So they kind of put the Cleveland Cavaliers back on their heels. And that's when you miss Garland, because he adds another element offensively to take a lot of pressure off of Donovan Mitchell. So they're going to need him to play next game. But the guy who was excellent tonight was Nembhard. I love the way he played. He came out with confidence very early in the game. So, but they were able to make a run, the Cavs, to get themselves back in the game. But it was that one play that changed the game on that 3-point shot, and they was able to pull his win out.
Aaron Nesmith, huge in this one, both ends of the floor, 17 points for him. That was Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Rose. That's when, Cleveland really started to make a push late in the third.
Yeah, and Donovan made a conscious effort to continue to not only be aggressive driving the basketball, but shooting the basketball. 30 attempts on the game, which is heavy. Ty Jerome as the backup point guard off the bench, 20 attempts is heavy. That's 50 total for those 2 guys when the entire team took 98. So they're going to need a lot more distribution, in particular to their big guys, Mobley, Allen, see if they can get themselves going and try to find a rhythm. But if they're going to win this series, Darius Garland is going to have to return. And Dominique said it earlier, and I agree. Hopefully DeAndre Hunter is able to play and he's not injured in the next game. But we both agree he should be starting when they play again in
Yeah,
game
so,
2.
For me, it adds a much bigger element to that front line. Here's a guy who can attack, guy can knock down a three to really stretch their defense. And DeAndre Hunter can really guard.
Mm-hmm.
And so they need that against this Indiana Pacers high-octane offense.
And also be another guy on the perimeter that does a lot of switching. If you look at these highlights, you see right now, that's Allen against Halliburton. You put him in the torture chamber and scooping on him. So that's another opportunity when you have more switchables out there. If you get Hunter in the lineup, then maybe you get up to a terrific start. And he's the guy in that position in late game situations versus Jared Allen.
Indiana making 19 threes tonight, the second most three-pointers made in a game in franchise playoff history. Pretty good, right? 22 in Game 4 of the 2024 first round is the record. Andrew Nembhard hit 5 of those threes in the game, finished with 23 points. We're going to hear from him coming up after the break.